From every strand on the line of your reel, to the rods, to the anglers, to the lures on the end of your hook, let's talk about those big bass here on Co-Angler's Corner with your hosts, Rob Welch and John Stallinger.
Good evening, everybody. I'm John.
How y'all are? Cajun Rob here hanging out with you.
We have a special guest tonight. I'm very honored to have Mark Pilgrim from California, and they're 3 hours behind us. We highly appreciate him taking time out of the middle of his day for this podcast to talk to us about fishing in California. One of the things that Jim Sperone, one of my partners with Wicked Ways Tungsten, he told me, get a hold of Mark. He's a great guy. He's a hammer out west. And I looked it up and I'm like, wow, this guy is a hammer.
Absolutely.
And then one of our guests, I want to say it was the Muse or Jen Nolan, one of the two of them said something about taking guide trips with him out in his lake. I apologize for not exactly remembering who it was that went, but come to find out, he's had a couple articles in Bass Angler magazine, arguably one of the best magazines out there, especially if you want to learn. He got notification that he was in the championship, the BAM Series Championship, which takes the top 20 anglers in that series. And we're talking Ish Monroe and, top level elite guys fishing it. I didn't get a chance to memorize the whole list, but I saw Mark's name on it, and wow, what an accomplishment.
Yeah, definitely got some sticks out there. I mean, and he's holding his own, so hats off to him.
Yeah, and if you don't mind, in the comments section, write down or send us a message where you're from. Let us, we like to learn where people are watching from, and if you have any questions for us or Mark, go ahead and shoot them out. And
absolutely.
Let's bring Mark in. Good evening, sir.
Hey, good evening. Hey, thanks for having me on.
Hey, thank you.
Pleasure's ours, sir. I'm glad to have you on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good evening, American Angler Outdoors and Alvin. Just in case you didn't know, our show gets streamed live on the American Angler Outdoor TV network, as well as our Facebook and YouTube channels. But Mark, I just want to congratulate you for making the championship. And if you don't mind starting by telling us a little bit about yourself and what got you to be such an elite angler.
Yeah. Well, it's been a long road for sure. Started when I was a kid with my dad, jumping into some small tournaments, club tournaments, and started fishing, I guess when I was about 20 or so years old. Started fishing with my dad, team tournament with Juan Bass and Angler's Choice, doing some stuff with them and kind of worked my way through the ranks. Stayed with it for about 15 years or so, and then took a big break. I would imagine must have been around 2008, 2010. Took a break from it for a while, and then walked away from it for a long time. In 2014, I kind of took a hiatus and jumped back into it about 6 years ago. And it's the California is kind of a cool place and where I live. And I grew up as a trout fisherman. Didn't fish for bass too much. I was a big stream guy, fly fisherman, and I just kind of transitioned into bass fishing, bigger lakes, and that's kind of what started it all for me and led to where I am today, which is fishing the BAM series, the Pro Tour on the West Coast, which has been just a lot of fun the last year, and we're looking forward to the Super 60 now in 2025.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Sorry about that. My alarm was going off.
I thought your cat got loose again.
No. No. So, most, like we spoke earlier, most of our guests are central U.S. and East. Can you explain to us, because the BAM series is a very unique series. It's sort of a combination of a couple different ones. Would you mind explaining how that works?
You know what it is? It's so the BAM series actually is its own entity now. It started off with another circuit, which I don't really want to get into, but
Yep.
Through Wild West, I'm not going to go there. But a lot of the anglers that fish that circuit ended up progressing into a new series now, which is the BAM series, which is owned by Mark Lassane. Took over, bought some equipment, and then started his own series a year ago. And it's kind of taken over, in the West. A lot of guys from, I think, the East Coast now are starting to travel back. They're going to fish with us this next year. So it started off small, and there was a lot of little things that quirks that needed to be worked out, but it's turned into a massive series now in the West. And to have that in California is a great thing, super great thing for the anglers here in California. We kind of we had another circuit that kind of pulled out of California this year, and to have this here, and for us to be able to go out and showcase our talents is just it's an amazing circuit, and I really can't wait for this one to end and for the BAM now Super 60 to start in 2025. So that'll be really exciting.
Yeah. Awesome. Now, the format is what intrigues me. You mind going over that a little bit?
The format's really cool. It kind of throws a lot of guys. There's, a lot of tournaments that we fish, whether it be teams or Pro Series tournaments. It's all based on weight, so you go out and you fish for your weight, whether it's a 2-day tournament and you have 2 days of weight, and then you've got a final championship day. So you've got 2 combination days. And then on a normal tournament, you'll go to your championship day and go to maybe a top 10, and your total weight, goes for your 3 days. This is completely different. So it really makes you think. We've got 2 ways you can qualify for Championship Sunday, and that is total weight over 2 days or total keeper count over 2 days. So it really makes you think when you're on the water and in the fishery that you're that you're at. It's you might be able to get into your first day and and catch 15, 20 pounds. Let's say you're at Berryessa or Clear Lake or something, and you got a 20 or 25 pound limit, and you can't catch fish the next day. You just kind of hit a dry spell, but you can catch a bunch of 14 inchers. You might be able to, double qualify on weight and keeper count, or go by solid weight, or you can catch 50, keepers in that tournament and qualify in keeper count. So what they end up doing is taking the top 5 in weight, and they alternate those through the top 5 in keeper count to give you your top 10 for Championship Sunday.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Now, do you have a marshal in the boat with you?
There's not a marshal in the boat. We actually use Tourney X, which works. Yeah, it works. It's the same format, really, the platform that the kayak guys use.
Yep.
But it just keeps total of our, total count for the day. So it actually is a great format. Works great.
Oh, yeah.
Now, do you have to do like the kayak fishermen do? You have a card or whatever and take a picture and.
You've got it. Yeah, you've got a card that's got your daily,
right,
like your little ID for that day. So
sure.
You've got exactly. And then the second day, same thing, ID. And then when you go to your third day, the weights actually, if you make Championship Day, the top 10, those weights actually 0 for Championship Sunday. So let's say you get in on keeper count and you're the 10th guy that squeaks in. On Sunday, it's you're all back to 0. So you can go have a decent day and still win win a tournament or win a championship just by getting in that top 10.
Yeah.
Cool.
Now, the championship is by total weight.
Championship's on total weight, but they're going to actually do the championship on the same way that they did the normal series. So it'll be total weight, and keeper count through the first 2 days, and then total weight. It'll be total weight on.
Okay. All right. Okay.
That's a cool concept. I like it.
Yeah, it's really a neat concept, and like I said, it really makes you think. And I think for a lot of guys, it's funny because you can pick up your phone and look at Tourney X, and go, hey, you know what? Isha's got 20 keepers, and I've got 15 keepers, but my weight's more, and you can kind of look and see where you stand. I try and not pick up my phone when I'm fishing during the day. Sometimes you pick it up and you look at it and you go, oh man, I got to start doing something different here. I'm starting to scramble. So you start fishing a little bit quicker, or, you start jumping around a little bit more, and it's, you just try and not look at it too much and just go out and, field your day and check in and see where the chips fall.
Yeah. Yeah. That, like, going into day 2, if you're like 15 pounds out, but only 5 fish out, like, all right, I'm not going for weight. I'm going for quantity.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, we fished the Columbia River. It was actually kind of neat. We fished the, out of Boardman, Oregon. I think it was the last weekend in July. And, the crazy thing is I think I have a video on YouTube where I pulled up on my first spot, and my plan and goal for that tournament was to go in and try and catch 20 pounds a day. I knew I could catch 18 to 20 pounds. Got to my first spot, and I mean, I was doubling up throwing topwater, and I'm doubling up 14-inch fish, and I went, it just things change, and it just like it clicks, and all of a sudden you've got 6 or 7 or 8 keepers in the first 20 minutes, and you kind of go on that path. You go, hey, if I can catch 30 keepers a day, then that's kind of the way you go. You take that road instead of taking the big fish path.
Oh, absolutely, and strategy plays into it. That's a good point.
Yeah, and like I said, when we were able to fish Almanor, which was my home lake, I kind of did. I went into it with thinking that I was going to catch a bunch of keepers and then save all my big fish for Championship Sunday.
Yep.
And I ended up catching some bigger ones early on my first day, and then just ran with that. I kind of went, well, instead of going for keepers, I'm going to start, I'm just going to try and catch my bigger fish, and ended up catching a pretty big bag on my first day, and then went back to my smaller fish area and tried to double qualify.
Yeah.
So, I never went back and looked at the numbers, but I'm pretty sure I double qualified, but I qualified on weight rather than, keeper count.
Yeah.
See, nothing wrong with that.
Is that something you need to declare? Like, today I'm going to go for keepers?
No, it's, and like I said, it's just something that, it could be halfway through your day. It's not something that you declare. It's just something that, and like I said, you can double qualify with it. You can, you can start off catching a couple of big fish in the morning and go for weight, and then, switch up halfway through the day if you get on a big school of 15-inch fish and just pile up on your keeper count. And it's actually a great way to go if you think about it. In my home lake, when I was fishing the second event, I knew where there was a bunch of bigger fish. So, my plan, like I said, when going in, was to just, catch keeper count and leave my big fish for Championship Sunday and not, really not touch them.
Right. Comment here. Hey, my bro, Rob, Andy Sliger.
Well, buddy, hey, Andy, he's from East Tennessee. How's it going, Andy? Good to see you, buddy. And your old partner there.
Yeah, Barking Rugers, Pazan. Mr. Nedhead. But no, California interests me because some of the fishing is like it is in New York.
Yep.
Cooler water, deeper water. What do you consider deep water?
Wow, we fish so many different areas. We fish. I'm sure you guys, I don't know if you guys have ever been out to Clear Lake and fished that at all, but
no, I have not.
It's a shallow water fishery. I mean that we've got several fisheries that are super shallow water. We've got, but then we've got, foothill reservoirs like Orville, Shasta, Berryessa, New Maloney's, Don Pedro, which are deep. I mean, we've got fisheries that are 600-700 feet deep.
Wow.
A lot of those ones that we fish, like Lake Shasta, seems to be the one that every circuit fishes. I know Juan Bass fished it last year. I think it was the first in January. They fished their first season or first tournament of the series. Their series was at Shasta. There was, I think, the 3 different series that fished that. So that's a deep water fishery. It's, it's 600 feet deep. And then you've got a lot of fisheries that are super shallow, like Clear Lake. Clear Lake is just it's a, Florida strain largemouth fishery that's, 20 feet deep, and the majority of the water you're fishing there is only 5 to 7 feet deep. A lot of tules, a lot of a lot of weeds. And then the California Delta is, it's the same way. The California Delta is just a shallow water tidal fishery that holds giant fish, and it's the majority of it is 20 feet deep. It's just really not. There's really not much to it other than it is a vast, crazy, giant place.
Barking Cougar says Oroville will break your heart.
Uh-oh.
Oroville's one of those places, and we fished the Thermalito After Bay 2 weeks ago, and it's the same way. It's those two fisheries, which are sister fisheries. One feeds the other. They're both. You'll go down and have a stellar day on Oroville, or get into a pre-fish situation and be on, catching 3, 4, 5 pounders, and then go out there the next day, and it's just like, man, it'll hurt you bad. The After Bay is the same way.
Yeah.
Right. Nice. But it's interesting. I noticed in California, I'm in tackle sales, and California is really getting hot. I mean, the bait sales are really getting steady and picking up. I mean, it's amazing.
You know what it is, and a lot's changing. It's just like I said, even the series that we have out here now with the BAM series, and going into the Super 60 now, which will be the new BAM series for 2025. So they're gonna increase it in size by 30 anglers, and it's not only is that series getting big, it seems that everything around it is getting big, which is huge. To see, the bait companies coming out, and we generally have a lot of fisheries that are, crankbait fishery, crankbait jigs, but the fisheries like Clear Lake and the Delta, which are, more based on, punch baits and stuff like that. You're seeing a lot of that stuff now out here where it's just kind of blowing up. And I think what Mark Lassane's doing with the BAM series is really opening a lot of eyes out here in the West Coast. And, and we're so appreciative of what he's doing. We've got, this will be the first year. I think 2025 will be the first year that I think West Coast anglers can fish for a living, in the West.
Cool.
We've never had that out here.
Right.
It's
always been that. It's always been, one of those things out here where you scramble, and if you're lucky enough to get sponsors out here in the West, big enough to sustain, just paying for your season, that's always been a bonus for us. And, this new series in 2025 is, it's at this point guaranteed, $50,000 for first place, and paying 1/3 of the field down to 20th place. There's going to be 60 pro tour anglers, in that series. And, to be, one of those guys that's paid one and three is, in the West with the purse that big it's pretty impressive. So
yes,
absolutely.
Have that out here, and to be able to, sustain, a lifestyle doing this in California and in the West Coast. I mean, we've got a lot of guys that are fishing from the Pacific Northwest that are jumping in, and tons of guys from Arizona that are, fishing it. And, it's just, it's exciting for sure. And being able to do this in 2025 is going to be huge. And it's, I think it's going to grow to the point where you're going to see it, I think, a lot more. We're back where you guys are. I'm hoping that you're going to, a lot more of the guys back there are going to hear about it. I think they have already heard about it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen a couple of big names from back there that are coming back to California this year to fish the series. So I was just going through those names today, looking at them, and it's going to be huge and exciting for sure. So yeah, it's kind of neat to see those bait companies come out and join in, what we're doing. And I mean, you can see them on my jersey. I mean, to have a couple of these guys support me is just, it's awesome.
Absolutely.
Barking Cougar says wacky rig or nothing. I don't even think he knows what a wacky rig is. Willamette Weapon Lures says, "Hey, Mark."
Yes, yeah, great guy. Yeah, he's got a great business up in up in the Pacific Northwest. The guy's probably he's probably one of the best bait painters out there. So if you guys ever jump on his website and check out his stuff, he is absolutely amazing. So yeah, super good guy, and glad to have him in my back pocket for sure.
Absolutely.
What kind of baits does he make?
He's a bait painter. So
okay. He's a painter.
You can painter. You can come up with a concept in a bait, and he will. He'll paint it up exactly. I've got a couple of baits at Orville. We've got Wakasagi smelt here in Almanor where I fish, and we've also got those in Orville, which is just down off the foothills from where I live. And I went to him last year actually and said, hey, this is what I want. Can you paint me up some of this stuff? And he did a great job and painted exactly what I wanted. And yeah, he's phenomenal with with his airbrush and what he does. He's definitely a good guy, and he's one of the best.
Awesome. No, one of the reasons why I asked you about the depth is we have a lake right next to me that's over 600 feet deep. The other one on the other side of me, Cayuga Lake, is 400 plus. And a lot of these guys that I talk to, they don't fish over 15 feet deep.
It's some of the lakes here are the same way. It's funny because I guess the Highland reservoirs there, Orville, Shasta, the Berryessa, those kind of lakes. There's a lot of guys that go out there and fish in 50, 60, 70, 80 feet of water.
Yep.
A lot of those guys do really well in tournaments. And to tell you the truth, I'm a power fisherman. So
yeah.
It's tough for me to go, I fished Lake Shasta. I fished the Juan event, their first event here in January. I think last year rained horribly hard for like 4 days. I think it was the worst rainstorm we'd ever seen. And I just, I couldn't go out there and throw a drop shot. I'm not a drop shot guy. So,
yep.
So it's just, I'm out there in less than 10 feet of water in January throwing my power bait stuff. I remember I was throwing top water. I was, and I was still catching fish. So it's, some of those lakes, like I said, guys do well, throwing stuff out there, jigs deep. And, I still think those deep water fisheries, you can catch giants in, shallow water. And they all, a lot of those, or most of those lakes do have largemouth. So it doesn't really matter which of those Highland, reservoirs you go to. The majority of them have largemouth, and if you can get one or two of those in the boat in the tournament, you're going to finish in the top 10. Yeah.
Wilmette says he specializes in painting match the hatch patterns.
He does, and you know what he's got? He's got crawdad patterns. I'm telling you, it's amazing stuff. He's definitely got the the painting down for each one of the reservoirs. He lives up in Vancouver.
Yep.
Fishes the Columbia River a lot. So if anybody who's up in the Pacific Northwest that's around the Columbia River, you want a special paint, he's your guy. He knows every crawdad pattern. He knows every every bait in that river system. So he's the man.
That jig I showed you before the show, that's a bluegill or a blue crab pattern.
Yeah, and you know what that's I love those darker colors.
Oh yeah.
So anything, Rob?
No, I said, man, it's blowing up out there, man. I can see it, and it's great, seeing the tackle stores. I mean, it's kind of a slow time of the year, but them guys are killing it. I mean, they're still sales are good out there.
Yeah, and like I said, it's I think after this next year, it's gonna grow to a level. I'm hoping that a massive level where we get a lot more guys fishing the Pro-Am events, through BAM, and that's growing too. So
sweet.
In order to qualify now for the BAM Pro Tour or the Super 60 for 2025, guys have to come through the ranks of the Pro-Ams. They're going to take
Makes sense.
Yeah, they'll take the top 10 out of the Pro-Ams for 2024, I believe, into the end of the mix for the last 60 guys to jump in for the Super 60 for next year. So
nice.
Yes.
it's growing. And like I said, there's, we had a circuit that's not going to come out. So
Yeah.
to this year. So I think a lot of guys are already jumping in, there's a lot of guys around in the West this year. And like I said, looking at these names on the list that I got today, it's kind of cool that some of the guys that moved from here and went back east to fish, the series back there and the MLF series and some of the bigger series are coming back. So so that's pretty. Yeah.
Yeah, they seen some of those payouts. I would be too.
Like that, like I said, to be able to be fishing for that amount, that much money, and like I said, 1 in 3 payback is, it's a no brainer.
Oh, absolutely. Ain't no doubt.
Yeah, and for me, I have no ambition to come back east and fish. I would love to. To come back there and do it was always a dream of mine when I was younger. To be able to there and do it, and and now I'm at the point where I worked for UPS for a long time. I just retired, and
congrats.
I'm kind of like I was kind of on the fence of where I wanted to travel and what I wanted to do, and when this all came around last year, it was like, well, I have no reason to leave, and after seeing what BAM and the series proposed for 2025, I'm definitely staying out west for a while, and gonna ride this one. So
I don't blame you. Hey, don't blame you one bit.
And Barking Uber said he was there for a few years. California fishing is a special kind of beast without the gators.
Yeah.
You know what it is? We've got some fisheries that are crazy. It's just like we fished. I was telling you guys, we fished this little pond last 2 weeks ago. It was the Thermalito Afterbay. And it's one of those places where they flush water through this thing all the time to flood the rice fields down in the Sacramento Valley. And it's loaded full of Florida strain largemouth. And it's not very big. I mean, this thing is probably, I think it's like maybe, I don't know, 2 miles long and a mile wide. It's not very big.
Yeah.
But there is some, I think, in fact, Ken Mall won the tournament there 2 weeks ago. I think he had 29 pounds on his final day. And there's just some giants in there, and I was watching fish. I was in a clear water area, and I was watching fish swim by that were, they were massive. They were pretty cool to see in a little tiny fishery like that. But there's a lot of places out here that are amazing. We fished Lake Martinez, Arizona, our first event, which is about 15 miles north of Yuma, Arizona.
Yep.
It's part of the lower Colorado River. And it's flooded with it's got these backwater flooded areas with tules and tons of cane and snakes and spiders and all kinds of stuff. It's crazy. But I went down there and fished it this year for the first time, and probably one of the my favorite places I've ever fished. It's crazy. I was watching. I fished. I sat on a 14, 15 pound largemouth on a bed for almost 3 hours while the camera boat was right behind me, and I had a great opportunity to win that event and stayed on that fish for way too long. I just couldn't. I couldn't away from it. The thing was so big, it was just I couldn't let it go. But I had a great opportunity to win that event, and I think I finished 7th there or something. But yeah, that place is amazing. Also, it's just there's a lot of places out here that'll really surprise you. There's some good fishing out here.
Yeah. I think you're going to see more anglers staying out west with the big money that the BAM series is putting out.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. And I know some guys that just moved back. I've got a couple of friends that we fished the last series with that folded 2 years ago. Some of those guys took off and went back, and I think those guys are going to be back. It might take them a year. And I think some of the guys that came out of the last series passed on fishing the new series, the BAM series, just because they didn't know what was going to happen. They didn't want to jump into something and not know if it was going to work. And, they took a for sure thing back east or whatever. And now that they're seeing what's going on And Mark Lassane promised kind of the moon, with what he was doing when he started the BAM series a year ago. And I think a lot of guys went, man, we don't know if it's going to work.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, he's definitely made true on every single promise that he made, starting at the beginning of the year last year. And it just seems like rolling into 2025 and the BAM Super 60, that this is just gonna, it's blowing up. And like I said, if you can make true on your promises, he's paying guys at the dock, at the ramp after the events, and something that he promised, and he's fulfilled everything that he said he was going to do. And and I think that's, like I said, that's what draws guys. It's going to draw guys back, and to have a series like that in the West where you can make that kind of money, it's awesome.
Yeah. Barking Rugers, Mark isn't kidding. 20 minutes out of the city and you're deep in the backwoods and hearing banjos. Now they might be playing a Mexican tune, but they backwoods as hell.
It was funny. It was actually, when I was down there, I kind of got into an area, and I went way down south, pretty much as far as I could go at one point when I was on the river, and I just kind of lost everything on my graphs. It was like I hit like the Bermuda Triangle somewhere.
Hey.
I was like, how far south am I exactly? I didn't know exactly. And there's some areas back in there. It was kind of cool. We went into an area, I think we saw a bunch of wolves one day back in a cove, and
wow.
there was, like I said, there's some down in that lower Colorado. There's some snakes down there and all kinds of weird. But amazing area. Like I said, I'm hooked. I was kind of hoping they'd go back there this year and fish it again, just because I had a blast down there. And it didn't take me long to figure it out, being a power fisherman. I fell in love with the place, and I think other than my home water, that area we fished down there and the Columbia River, probably two of my favorite fisheries.
Yeah. Nice. Willamette Weapons Lure says there are exciting things happening with Mark Lassane and the BAM series.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah. I remember.
And I think a lot of guys too. There's, if a lot of guys on the West Coast that'll probably watch it, there's going to be a lot of guys that jump on and watch. Yeah. I can't preach it enough. I mean, I'm going to fish. My plan this year, if sponsorship works out, is to fish both circuits. I'm going to fish the Pro-Am series, and I'm also going to fish the Super 60 series. Oh. There's a events which are pretty close, but I'd like to try and fish both, only because they're going to fish a couple of events that are close to me on the Pro-Am series. Mm-hmm. So if I can handle both series this year, I'm going to do both. And I think for a lot of guys in the West that really don't have a place to go next year, this is your year. Jump in and fish the Pro-Am series, and that is a growing series. So it's not like you're jumping into something with 160 boats right now. I think last year or this year was getting maybe between 60, 70 boats. But I think in 2025, that's going to grow quite a bit. So, hopefully he'll be upwards of, 100 boats, 120 boats. And, if that's the case, to pick 100 boats and the top 10 guys are going to, qualify to fish, the Super 60, series for 2026, your odds are pretty good, of jumping into a series. If you're, a decent angler, you don't even have to be. I mean, there's so many good, pro guys that are fishing that thing that are guys that'll give you the shirt off their back. I mean, these guys it's just a great series. And, to be able to jump up and fish in the BAM Super 60 series through that one is a win-win too. So guys that are on the fence and don't know if they want to fish a series next year, jump into the BAM Pro-Am series. It's, you can, as a professional series, I think, normally we're used to paying, $1,000 per series or so. And I think this year he was at like $750 for a pro angler.
Wow.
So it's really reasonable. And the lakes are amazing. I did look at the schedule, and it's another reason why I want to fish the Pro-Am series as well. There's a couple of lakes in there that, one of them I haven't fished. It's Potholes up in Washington. And I've heard about it and I want to fish it. So, you know, there's two ways you can qualify for the championship in the Pro-Am series next year. They're going to do like a Central California series, and then they're going to do a Pacific Northwest, which is two. Yeah, so they'll split the two series, and then that's how you can qualify for the championship. And I want to go up and fish those Pacific Northwest series. You know, get on the river back up and at the Columbia River again, and you know, in potholes in some of those areas, and then fill in with like Shasta or something like that. So it sounds like a super exciting series, and you know, something that just keeps you excited and, you know, keeps you going.
Yeah. Wilmette Weapons Lure wants to know if you're fishing the U.S. Open next year. This year.
I was actually going to fish this year. I've got one of my sponsors that's going to be there, and I really wanted to be down there and fish it, but we have our championship the next week. So there is a couple of guys that are going to go down and fish the U.S. Open, which is in Mojave. This year down in Arizona, and it's too tight for me. You know, it's like a 12-hour drive, and then it's you know, to have a week between the two, it's just it's too much in a short amount of time. I would love to do it, but you know, I did fish the first series, like I said, in the WAN this year, and my plan was to fish all the WAN series. I had a couple of family things that kept me from that this year, but you know, my plan is next year is to do the like I said, the Pro-Am series and the Super 60 series, and then fill in with what I can. If I can jump in and fish a WAN event, absolutely, I'm going to do it.
Wilmette Weapon Lure says just got back from hot potholes, spent a week there.
Yeah, you know, and that's I think that I hear great things up there. So yeah, I want to go up, and I've got a couple of friends that live up there, so be nice to go up and spend some time. And like I said, I'd like to jump on an airplane and fly back and jump on one of your boats. You guys can drag me out there.
You know, I was just thinking, you know, we might have to do like an exchange program.
Exactly.
There you go.
I was talking to Jim Sperone too. We were talking about him earlier. You know, and Jim told me, he said, "Hey, you know, if you want to come back, I'll drag you up to the river next year." And yeah, it's just like that's always been one of the places on my bucket list. I've never got back there to do it, and I've always wanted to, you know, to get up there and check it out.
You might as well come out for a week and hit Champlain, St. Lawrence, Cayuga. They're all exceptional fisheries.
Exactly. Wow. You know, and for me, I mean, I'm like that. I mean, I've a couple of times this year, I've had guys on the, you know, back here in the West. It's like I'm the smallmouth. I don't know what they say. I'm like the man, I guess. I don't know.
The guru. You're the guru.
That's my specialty for sure. I mean, I'm a smallmouth guy, but you know, I love largemouth, and we've got so many fisheries that have spots, you know, here. So I you know, when I grew up doing this, like, you know, I said, a lot of the team tournaments that I did were, you know, fishing spots, and you know, between spots and largemouth and smallmouth, we've got so many different places. You know, it's just it's so much fun to do it all. But man, the smallmouth thing for me is just that's my jam for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we have a couple smallmouth here. So
there's few.
We've got a small lake. You know, I live on Lake Almanor, so we've got this little lake right here by me. And I grew up, you know, in this little area in Plumas County, and we've got this little, and we actually fished a couple of tournaments in the series. We fished one here this year, and then we've got you know, the kayak series fishes here. I think next year the Pro-Am series is probably going to fish here, I think. And you know, we've got, it's not a giant lake, and there's 7-pounders in here, and you know, it's and they're plentiful. You know, there's a lot of 4 and 5s. You know, there's a lot of 4 and 5s, and it's just one of those lakes that's got so much, you know, food in it. There's you know, the Wakasagi, you know, smelt. There's, you know, crawdads, gobies. I mean, there's so much for these fish to eat that it's and it's a great trout lake too. It's kind of one of the premier trout lakes in, you know, in the West and in California, Northern California.
Nice. Wilmette says it's a phenomenal fishery.
Yeah.
So, what is your? Okay, we talked a lot of.
Hey,
I apologize. John. We took most of the series. John Adams says, "Good evening, guys."
Hey, John.
Hey, John. What is your favorite technique? I know you said you're a power fisherman, so.
Wow. I throw a lot of topwater stuff. You know, I'm a topwater guy. You know, there's guys right now that you know around me that come out and ask me, hey, I can't catch fish out there. What am I supposed to do? I'm out here throwing a drop shot in 30 feet of water, and I'm like throwing a giant whopper plopper or you know a big bait and just rip that thing. And they're like, it's October. How am I supposed to catch fish in you know smallmouth fishery in October? And I go, I do it every day. You know, I go out there and you gotta go out there and do it. You know, I think guys get afraid of it. You know, they don't want to pick up that big bait and chuck it out there, but you know, they work. You know, it like at the Columbia River, I was throwing, you know, 7 and 9 inch swim baits when I was up there, you know, and those smallmouth were just annihilating those, you know, big giant swim baits. So
But yeah, you get a topwater blow up, man. It makes your day. I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm kind of hooked on it. Like I said, I go out to my local lake and do it almost daily, and I guide here, and you know, it's topwater for me is you know it's my bread and butter. So it's yeah, it's definitely fun, and you know I'll throw big buzz baits out there too, and you know. You know, it's just kind of what I do. Clear Lake's one of those fisheries where, you know, big swim baits and buzz baits and, you know, just, you know, power fishing those kind of places is awesome. And, you know, crankbaits, I just can't do it. You know, it's weird. Somebody asked me a couple weeks ago if I had some drop shot baits. They go, hey, do you have any extra drop shot, you know, weights in your boat? And I'm like,
I know somebody does.
I go, I have some wicked weights in here, but I'm not giving them up.
Yeah. Don't blame me there.
Yeah, Jim can always tell when I have a tournament coming around because it's like, okay, can I get
I'll call 6 of these, 5 of these, 4 of these.
Yeah, I'll call them. I'll send them a message saying, hey, how are you on half-ounce drop shot weights? I've got this many. I said, okay, I'm putting an order in tonight for X amount of dollar or X amount of bags.
I know. I think last time I had an event, we were going to Shasta or something. I called him up and I said, hey, I need some more of those finesse jigs. And he goes, I don't have any left. And now I know why, because John, they're all right behind you.
Yeah. Now you know.
Next time I need some, I know who to call. I'll just get on the phone with you and say, hey, can you shoot me over about 10 of those?
Don't be afraid to call me up and say, hey, John, do you got anything? I'm like, yeah, I might have one.
Or 20.
To be honest with you, I hate going to a tournament with like 1 or 2 baits.
Yeah.
1 or 2 of the same thing. And, you know, up here, we're fishing a lot of rocks, ships, you know, sunken barges and stuff like that. And then we have the zebra mussels too.
Yeah.
So it doesn't take long to lose something.
Yeah, that's like me. The other day last night I was out going through my boat and I told my wife, I said, why do I have so much stuff in my boat? I talk about overkill. I've got so much stuff in there. Like, do I need 20 of these or 30 of these? I think I do.
Yeah, it's crazy. So what Andrew Pulliam, hey buddy, where's a lake you've never fished to that you'd like to go to?
Wow, there's a
lake or river.
Growing up as a kid, I always wanted to go to Okeechobee and fish, and that's probably one of my bucket list places that I'd like to fish. There's a lot of for me being a smallmouth guy, there's a lot of places like in Idaho. You know, there's some lakes up that I want to go fish, and Texas. You know, I'd like to just take a month and just go to Texas.
Yeah.
And, and drive around and try and fish what I can fish. And I don't know. It's that's a tough one to answer, really. You know, it's
okay. Just any lake you've not been to before, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. I'm easy. Like I said, put me in a boat and stick me out there, and I'm like, I don't care if I'm catching, catfish or what I'm catching. About 10 years ago, I got hooked on going to Cabo and catching, marlin and stuff like that. I just, it's just in my blood, I think, so it doesn't matter what I'm doing or where I'm going. As long as I'm on a boat and I got a fishing pole in my hand and, I'm happy.
Yeah. Scott Kellen says, let's take him on Erie. I can show him where we designed the Smalley Smasher.
I tell you, that place scares me. I hear stories about that place, and I'm like, I'd love to go out there and do it, but that's a place I definitely would love to go.
Yeah. Well, you could just go from Erie to Lake Ontario to the St. Lawrence River, and then go up through Champlain. What a week that would be!
That'd be a blast for sure.
I think Mark's like me. He's seen these videos, these guys spearing like 4 or 5 foot waves and coming in all deep, popping their inflatables and all that. So
that's or they're out there on the trolling motor with 8 and 10 footers going over the bow of the boat.
Yeah, the first time I went to the Columbia River was that way. I was driving up there and I think I got to Arlington, Oregon, and my wife was with me, and I looked over my shoulder at her, and we both looked at each other at the same time, and we looked at the water, and we saw this barge go by. I don't know, it was like one of those big ship barge things.
Yeah.
And there to have been, I don't know, 8 or 10 foot swells, and I was like, I got to put my boat on that. I was like, whoa, this is a little intimidating, but those river fisheries are crazy. And the Delta's the same way. It's just the wind blows out there all the time, and it's pretty scary, but. It's get a big boat and go do it, I guess.
There you go. Scott Callen said it's all about the ride. Now I'm going to tell you, the one thing that's scary for me, like on the St. Lawrence, is the tide can be going one way, the wind will go the other, the waves are going one way, and then you got the barges coming through, which is pushing the water every other direction. So next thing you know, you think you're riding the right wave, and okay, no, it's going the wrong way.
Rogue waves everywhere.
That's what happens at the Columbia River and also the Delta. The Delta is the same way. You got the big barges and stuff, and the tide will be going one way and the wind's going the other way, and it's bad. But the Columbia River, I've seen it worse up there. I got into a thing up, a pre-fish for the last tournament we were up there. I think it was like it was in June or something. But I was running a little section, and I thought, wow, this is kind of weird. It feels like I'm in the ocean out here. And I got into that weird kind of a tidal wave thing, and then all of a sudden the wind started blowing the other way, and it was a scary situation, kind of crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. John Adams. Now I know, because I place. He makes some custom baits for me. Now I know when you place an order, why you order the amount of each color.
The secret's out.
I think I order the same amount every time, so I don't even probably have to tell them how many. But no, I do have one question that's an off-the-wall question for a fishing podcast.
Sure.
What's your favorite homemade cookie?
Wow, my favorite homemade cookie is definitely probably oatmeal raisin.
Nice.
Good choice.
Kind of healthy.
Yeah, healthy but not. It kind of makes
it evens out. It evens out.
Do you take do you want like chocolate chips in it or just straight oatmeal raisin?
Yeah, oatmeal raisin, little chocolate chips good. You could throw some maybe there's some white macadamia nut in there too.
Okay.
It evens out. Like I used to work in a school system, secretaries that have a Diet Coke and a Snicker, and this it evens out.
Oh yeah. Exactly.
Okay, works for you. Hey, I ain't gonna question it.
Just like going through like fast food restaurant, ordering half the menu with a Diet Coke.
There you go. Evens out.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So, hey, Mark, I appreciate you coming on and talking to us a little bit about fishing out west. We'd like to give our guests a little bit of time, 10, 15 minutes or whatever you want to do to talk about your sponsors, people who've helped you along the way, and just to give them all a shout out.
Yeah. It's like I said, we can't do this. And as anglers, it's a struggle every day, when you're on the water. And a lot of guys think that, when they see you out here doing this, that everyone's making $1 million, and it definitely is not the case. So, yeah, sponsors are definitely key. And, you know, to be doing this, it doesn't matter what level, you've got to have somebody, you know, behind you, you know, helping you out, you know, with gas prices and everything else going, you know, through the, you know, skyrocketing. And it's just, it's something that you need. And I've got some great people that have been behind me for a few years, and got to be super thankful, you know, for them. Mercury Marine, they've been behind me for, you know, for a while now. And you know, GSM, you know, Big Bite's been with me for 3 years, and they were acquired last year by GSM. And when that acquisition happened, I thought that I was going to maybe, you know, lose what I had, and I kind of rolled right into the mix. And I'm actually working with them right now, and Jennifer's been great, and you know, it's been a win-win for me. They kind of just rolled me right in, you know, with GSM and you know, in the GSM family. So to have GSM, Bill Lewis, and you know, Big Bites with me, that's been you know, huge. There's you know, Wicked Weights, like I said, you know, Jim Sperone is. It was funny. I talked to him a couple of years ago, and I think he kind of looked at me like, hey, there's a West Coast guy asking me for some baits, and you know, and there was two of us out here, I think, that were kind of hitting him up at the time, and I've kind of acquired a cool friendship with Jim, and like I said, he's probably one of the best guys out there. If you guys, you know, need any kind of tungsten, and his coated tungsten, the Wicked Weights coated tungsten stuff is phenomenal. It doesn't chip. Amazing products. You know, one of my favorite baits, the Wicked Willow. I love that thing, you know, as a color. You know, I picked up Yozuri this year, so they've been pivotal to me too with stuff. P-Line and First Gen Fishing, they've helped me out tremendously. Gets it baits, which everybody has, and you know, I've been using them for years. Corey's been with me for, you know, for 4 or 5 years, and Corey's a great guy, and I'm super thankful to have Gets It. My wife has a little business here, Celebrated Interiors. I have to give her a shout out. So she's over here watching me, and she helps me out so much. So I gotta thank her. Almanar Boat and RV Storage, they help me out big time every year. Plumas Pines Resort Marina, which is the marina where I live, they've been with me for a couple of years, and I gotta say thank you to them. And Riley's Jerky. If you guys haven't had Riley's Jerky, you got to order some. It is by far the best jerky you will ever have. This small little mom and pop place here in Greenville, California, crazy good jerky. So if you haven't had it, you know, order some up, and you'll enjoy it. Diversified Resources, some friends of mine, the Holtz, they've been behind me from day one. In fact, they wrote me my first check, you know, when I started. They were kind of my first sponsor and got me into what I was doing. Without them, I wouldn't even be here. I mean, they were like, event, you know, we'll get you rolling, and you know, and that's been huge for me. Eternal Lithium Batteries has been huge for me, so I got to say thank you to them. And Almanar Ace Hardware, another one of my non-endemics here that's local, has helped me hugely. So thank you, you know, to them also. And I'm working on some pretty big stuff for this year. I've got 4 really big things that I'm working on, and I have to say, I don't even think I would be working with these 4 big companies right now if it wasn't for BAM and the series and what we're doing. You know, without Mark Lassane and the BAM series, you know, it's number one, we wouldn't have a platform like this in the West to be able to, you know, show off our skills, and if you want to call them skills. I think we're all just a bunch of guys out there, friends going out and fishing. But it's you know, for him to have the series here, you know, and provide that for us, I gotta say huge thanks to Bam and Mark Lassane. So he's a great guy, and the series is good. So if you guys are out there and you want to get into series, that's the one to get into. So
cool.
So, yeah, and you know, thanks to you guys, I wanted to be able to, you know, showcase stuff for the West more out in the East Coast, and for you guys to, you know, jump on board and say, hey, you know, we want to, you know, at least showcase something and what we're doing out here to the guys out West. that's huge. So
Yeah.
I'm so appreciative to have you guys and what you're doing, also.
Hey, pleasure's all ours, man. We enjoyed having you, and I said it's blowing up out there, man. I think you're ahead of the curve on it. So congrats.
Yeah, and to jump in when I did, like I said, I got in at the right time. It's definitely a grind, but and it's to be able to be sitting in the position that I'm in, to be one of the first 30. It's a great position to be in, and now that we're doubling next year, and it's we're jumping to 55 or 60 anglers, I think. They'll probably cap it at that for a while, but man, just unbelievable. And like I said, it's to have that kind of platform in the West is awesome. And I'm so excited for 2025 and the Super 60 series. So
definitely growing, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, very cool.
Jeremy May says, "Hello, gentlemen. Love some big bites baits and half off to Cody Stahl for winning the Bass Open up on the Mississippi."
Absolutely.
Teammate. You mentioned wicked weights, and you said I have a couple of them in my background.
Just a couple.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you've seen these yet. I did get permission to show them.
Yep.
The freestyle bait.
You know what? I was talking to Jim about that a while back, and he did say he was going to come out with those. I don't have any yet. So Jim, if you're watching, buddy, hey, I'm sure you have my address.
That's going to be a hot technique here in Tennessee and Kentucky area. It's really getting hot. So
the whole free rig thing is just so cool. And you guys were talking about the deep water fisheries here. That's when the guys finesse fish here, that's what they do. A lot of that's huge here. So those deep water fisheries are free rig areas.
Jeremy May says Jim loves me. I'm glad you said that Mark knows or Jim knows your address, because hey, if you can get him through him, I don't have to get rid of mine.
I was gonna say, what, I can text you. I can shoot it over to you.
Anytime.
No, actually, I was
works both ways, though, right?
Yep.
What's that?
That probably works both ways, right? If you run out, you're gonna be calling me.
Oh, well, I don't know if I'll ever run out, but no, I greatly appreciate you coming on, and we are trying to get more Western fishermen, fisherwomen. Mondays we do a show dedicated for women and only women, and we're trying to do a kayak thing sometime in the future. Rob and I talked about that a little bit today, but the Western market is hard because of the time difference for us.
Yeah, totally understandable.
I do too, and maybe we're gonna have to do some recording shows for that. But no, thank you very much for coming on. I appreciate it, and if there's anything I can do to help you out, I can't give you advice on lakes out there, but
no. And once again, like I said, I'm super appreciative of you guys and everything that's going on right now, and yes, huge thank you. And it's hopefully maybe you guys will win in a couple weeks. You guys can have me back on and I'll tell you how I did it.
Oh, absolutely, man. You got it.
Yeah. We'll book a show for you sometime next year.
There you go. I'd love to be back on. Yeah, I was talking to Dustin and Jennifer Muse actually a while back.
Yep.
They're friends of mine, and we kept talking about, hey, we need to do a show where we do like an East Coast or Midwest, West Coast thing where we fish a lake in the West and a lake back there, or do some filming and they're super cool people and
absolutely.
They're like a handful. You get around them, they're so much fun. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're gonna have me in a kayak one of these days.
Hey, it's pretty addicting. I'm gonna go ahead and warn you. I'm addicted to mine. I've just had mine a few months, and man, it's awesome.
Yeah, I think I'd love to have one too. I see all these guys doing it. I'm definitely in my future, I think.
Jeremy, how about you bake him some cookies?
I don't think it was those. I don't think it was none of those.
Jeremy says, just have Constance bake them, send them out some cookies. Jeremy says, hey, Mark, I wanted to come out west fishing. Can you take me fishing?
Absolutely.
Speaking of which, do a shout out about your guide business.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I guide here. I actually guide in 4 different lakes, but I focus more on my home lake, Lake Almanor, California. So it's we're kind of up more towards like the Truckee Tahoe area, a little bit more northwest of there. So so we're a smallmouth fishery, and like I said, if you guys on the West Coast are looking for a fish of a lifetime, a smallmouth of a lifetime, there's a lot of big ones here. So I normally fish between. I try and fish a couple of months in the spring, and then I focus more on the summertime. So, yeah, it's it's good 4 months out of the year, and you guys won't be disappointed. So if you guys want to give me a call or look me up online, I've got markpilgrimproangler.com. You guys can check it out and look at what I've got going on. And if you're in the area or if you want to fly out, hey, I'm here and we can go do it.
All right.
Cool.
Jeremy May says, let's do a fish off. James River versus Clear Lake.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. Uh-oh.
If you've never
how about we do it, Jeremy? We'll do James River and Oneida Lake.
Mm.
No, Jeremy's a good friend of ours, and he came and fished an open on Oneida Lake, and he wasn't very fond of the water
Waves.
But no, Mark, I apologize. We kept you a little over an hour. We'll have to have you on again for sure. I enjoyed every minute of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I may be out there toward the end of the year. My company may send me out there. So if it does, man, I'll definitely hit you up.
Heck yeah, give me a call. Like I said, if you come out here and at the end of the year, I'll drag you down to Oroville or one of those lakes down there, or and we'll go catch some big ones.
Absolutely, man. Sounds like a winner.
Yep.
All right.
Vice versa. If I'm out your way, I'm going to give you guys a ring.
Oh,
hey, come on out. Come on out.
I even have a spare room.
Hey, that's even better.
A couple beds, has a mini fridge, microwave, bathroom.
You got a lock on that? What are you in your garage? You got a lock on that door? I'm going to sneak in.
No, it's actually my basement.
Oh, look, yeah, I guess.
I hit the wrong button.
Let me hit it. All right, there we go.
My wife, Constance, says, who am I sending cookies to? I'm down.
Hey, that's an honor. Let me tell you now. That's an Hey, didn't we have somebody just win a tournament she sent cookies to?
No, we won Angler of the Year.
Oh, that's right. That's even better.
And Jeremy May says he'll send you a burnt pie.
That is Baker May, as his nickname goes.
Like I said, I'm easy. I'll eat anything.
Oh.
I don't know if you could chew that, but anyways.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna need some cookies here real soon.
Yeah. All right, Mark. Well, hey, thank you, and tell your wife you said thank you for letting you spend an hour of your day with us. We appreciate it, and take care, buddy.
Absolutely. Thanks, you guys.
Hey, best of luck, man, on your season coming up. We'll definitely be tuning in and give you a follow for sure.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, buddy.
All right. Bye, guys.
All right. See you guys.
Jeremy came in late and stayed strong, didn't he?
Oh, yeah, he did. And the missus, missus come in there. That's a special treat. Hey, that's like having a cookie.
Yeah. Should I tell her his favorite cookie?
Yeah.
No. Oatmeal raisin with white macadamias.
It's not bad. At least it ain't other kind of cookie we're not so fond of.
Yeah, I'm glad it's not snickerdoodle.
And Mr. May kind of coming in late there. He's always fashionably late, but he shows up.
Let me know what kind. Oh, I just told her.
No, I think she's talking about me, but
yeah,
I'll drop a hint.
Yeah, send me a message. Send her a message, whatever. But no, right. Everybody, thank you for showing up. We appreciate it. We don't do this for the money or the fame or the fortune because we don't have any of it.
No, we just have a lot of fun and hang out with our good friends and hang out with our buddies. So, but anybody has the guest ideas or want to have a show on something, you're not like a technique, or you got a friend or somebody you think would be a good guest, hey, reach out, hit us up.
And Rob, she was asking you what kind of cookie.
I'm pretty simple: chocolate chip or sugar cookie. I'm pretty simple.
What about a sugar cookie with chocolate chips?
Interesting. I'm good either way.
Okay.
But I need all the luck I can get.
All right. Everybody have Brock, nice seeing you on. Everybody have a
Hey, Brock.
night, safe weekend. Wear your life vests and be safe. And let's see some of your pictures. Absolutely.
And I hope y'all see y'all all next Monday. Sure, we got a great lineup this month and next month, guys. Tune in. We got some great guests coming up.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Peace out.